The whisper came so softly that for a moment, Ethan Carter thought he had imagined it. It happened under the harsh white lights of the showroom floor in downtown Chicago, long after most of the staff had gone home. The glass walls reflected his tired face back at him as he stood beside a luxury sedan he could never afford. His boss stepped close enough that he could smell her expensive perfume, and in a voice almost playful, almost dangerous, she leaned near and murmured, "If you want a closer look, just ask." The words weren't loud, but they were heavy, heavy enough to change everything. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in doing the right thing even when it costs you, take a second right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that integrity still matters. Ethan had never imagined his life would narrow down to fluorescent lights and commission charts. 5 years earlier, he had been coaching his son's Little League team in a quiet suburb outside Milwaukee. Back then, his wife had still been alive. Back then, laughter filled their small kitchen on Sunday mornings. But leukemia had a cruel way of rewriting futures, and after 18 months of hospital rooms and whispered prayers, Ethan found himself standing alone at a graveside with his 6-year-old son, Caleb, gripping his hand so tightly it hurt. Grief didn't give him time to collapse. Caleb still needed school lunches packed. Bills still needed to be paid. And so Ethan did what single parents across America do every day. He kept going. He moved to Chicago for a better-paying job at a high-end car dealership owned by Victoria Hayes, a woman known in the industry for her sharp instincts and sharper expectations. Victoria was admired and feared in equal measure. She had built Hayes Auto Group from one struggling lot into 3 thriving dealerships across Illinois. She dressed impeccably, spoke decisively, and demanded results. Ethan respected her drive. He also understood that falling short in her world meant being replaced. The problem was, Ethan was falling short. Between school pickups, late-night homework help, and a second job delivering groceries on weekends, he didn't have the energy to charm clients the way the younger salesman did. He missed networking dinners, he declined after-work drinks, he chose Caleb's science fairs over closing parties, and slowly his numbers slipped. The whispers in the break room grew louder. Single dad, distracted, not hungry enough. The night Victoria leaned in with that cryptic offer, Ethan had just lost a major sale to a colleague named Brandon Cole, who had smirked while collecting the commission bonus. Ethan stayed late to reorganize files, telling himself that effort still counted for something, that integrity mattered, that his son's proud smile when he said, "My dad works hard," was worth more than any trophy plaque on the wall. When Victoria approached him by the silver sedan, her tone carried layers. The showroom was empty. The security cameras blinked silently from the corners. The car she stood beside was a brand new limited edition model worth more than his yearly salary. She traced her fingers along the hood as if admiring more than the paint. "If you want a closer look, just ask." It would have been easy to misunderstand. Easy to assume she was offering something beyond business. Office rumors had followed her for years. Powerful woman, divorced, selective. And here she was, inches away, eyes unreadable. Ethan's heart pounded, not with temptation but with fear. He needed this job. Caleb's tuition for his private charter school was due in 2 weeks. The rent had increased. His old pickup truck had started making a noise that mechanics described with the word expensive. He swallowed hard and chose his words carefully. He told her he didn't need a closer look at the car. He needed a closer look at his performance. He asked if there was something he was missing, something he could improve. He said he wanted feedback, not favors. He spoke about responsibility, about being a father first, but still wanting to be excellent at his job. He didn't plead, he didn't flirt, he didn't shrink, he stood tall. Victoria didn't respond immediately. She simply studied him, her expression unreadable in the reflection of polished chrome. Then she stepped back, nodded once, and left without another word. The next morning, tension filled the office like static before a storm. Ethan was called into the main conference room at 9 a.m. sharp. Brandon's smirk was back as he watched Ethan walk past. Inside, the senior managers sat along the long walnut table. Victoria stood at the head, hands clasped. Ethan braced himself. She began by projecting the monthly sales figures onto the screen. His name was near the bottom. A familiar wave of dread washed over him. He thought of Caleb's drawing taped to the fridge, a stick figure labeled "My Hero Dad." He thought of packing up his desk into a cardboard box. But then something unexpected happened. Victoria shifted the slide. A hidden column appeared, one that tracked customer retention and post-sale satisfaction surveys. Ethan's name moved from the bottom to the very top. Clients had described him as honest, patient, trustworthy. Several had returned specifically asking for him. One elderly couple wrote that he stayed 2 hours past closing to explain financing options in simple terms. A single mother noted that he refused to upsell her into a payment she couldn't afford. Victoria's voice was steady as she explained that sales volume wasn't the only metric that mattered. Long-term loyalty built sustainable businesses. Integrity built reputations. She revealed that the previous night had been a test. She had intentionally phrased her comment ambiguously to see how he would respond under pressure. Rumors about her leadership had grown, and she needed to know who among her staff would take advantage of gray areas and who would choose clarity. Ethan's answer, she said, had left everyone stunned, including her. He hadn't asked for shortcuts. He had asked to grow. In front of the entire management team, Victoria announced a restructuring plan. Ethan would head a new client experience division focused on relationship building and long-term service packages. His base salary would increase, reducing his dependence on commission volatility. Flexible scheduling would be implemented for parents on staff. The room fell silent. Brandon's smirk disappeared. Ethan felt something shift inside his chest. Not pride, but relief so deep it nearly brought him to his knees. The weeks that followed weren't magically easy. Balancing fatherhood and leadership still required early mornings and late nights. But now, he worked with purpose instead of fear. He trained younger salespeople to listen before they sold. He created community outreach events offering free car maintenance workshops for single parents. Slowly, the dealership's reputation changed. Customers began describing Hayes Auto Group as the honest one. One Friday evening, months later, Caleb ran across the dealership floor after school, his backpack bouncing behind him. He stopped in front of the same silver sedan that had once felt like a symbol of pressure. "Is this the one you told me about?" Caleb asked, eyes wide. Ethan nodded and knelt beside him. He explained how sometimes the most important moments in life don't look dramatic from the outside. Sometimes they're just choices, quiet choices, choices made when no one is cheering. From across the showroom, Victoria watched them. She didn't interrupt. She didn't need to. Ethan realized then that success wasn't about luxury cars or executive titles. It was about the example he set for his son. It was about proving that integrity could survive even in rooms filled with ambition. Before this story comes to a close, if it has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more stories that remind us why character still matters. And right now, I have a special request. Comment the word integrity below if you believe doing the right thing is always worth it. That night, after Caleb fell asleep in their small apartment overlooking Lake Michigan, Ethan stood by the window and looked at the city lights. Chicago buzzed with ambition and noise, but inside his heart there was calm. He hadn't chosen the easy path. He hadn't chosen the risky one either. He had simply chosen the honest one, and sometimes that is the answer that leaves everyone stunned. In a world that often rewards shortcuts, Ethan Carter proved that quiet strength can still rise above whispers. That single parents can lead with both compassion and excellence. That second chances don't always come wrapped in apology. Sometimes they come disguised as tests. And most of all, he proved to one little boy watching closely that being a good man is the greatest success of all.